Hello guys, Vlad is here. The knockout stage of 2022-2023 UEFA Champions League season is almost here. Best of the best European clubs are still in action, fighting for the most desirable trophy in all the club football. In today's video, I will have a deep analysis of the Champions League 2023 season. Watch the video until the end if you want to know who will most probably lift the trophy, which teams will face each other in the final, who's the dark horse of the tournament, and of course who's going to be the best player of the tournament. Here we go. Let's start with two very obvious betting favorites. Even before the start of the group stage, Manchester City was the biggest betting favorite. The English club was given plus 175 odds of becoming the UEFA Champions League winner for the first time. The analysts of the betting companies give Pep Guardiola's squad a 38% chance of lifting the Champions League trophy, especially now since Arsenal is leading in the Premier League and most probably will end up winning it. Manchester City's #1 priority will be the Champions League. On February the 23rd, citizens will face their first opponent on their way to the most desirable trophy of the club, one of the biggest underdogs of the tournament, German club Red Bull Leipzig. With elite players like Erling Haaland, Kevin De Bruyne, Bernardo Silva, Ilkay Gundogan and Julian Alvarez, RB Leipzig will be an easy match for the Blues. But then there will be the draw for the quarterfinals, and who knows what the gods of football will decide. Maybe Manchester City will end up facing the second betting favorite of the tournament, Bayern Munich. And if we mention the Bavarians, let's talk a little bit more about them. After the total fiasco at the World Cup, Germany needs to redeem the prestige and the status of one of the leading football countries in the world. And the only way to do that is to win the biggest club title in the world. And it looks like the German team is very motivated to get their 7th Champions League title. Bayern is in the first place in the Bundesliga. The Bavarians have only a few points difference with the second place, but it still seems like the national trophy will most probably be in their pocket. So the Champions League will for sure be the #1 priority for Bayern Munich. The biggest German club is currently a mix of old and experienced players like Thomas Müller, Manuel Neuer, Sadio Mane, and young uprising talents like Leroy Sané, Kingsley Coman, Serge Gnabry, Alphonso Davies, Matthijs de Ligt, and of course hope of the whole German football, Jamal Musiala. The German squad is incredibly talented, but unfortunately for them, their very first and probably the biggest test of the season will be their next match, against, in my personal opinion, the biggest favorite of the tournament, Paris Saint-Germain. But let's leave the Parisian team for the end of the video. Of course, there are more clubs that we can't ignore. Round of 16 has all 4 clubs from England. I already talked about Manchester City. Now I'll briefly talk about Chelsea, Liverpool and Tottenham Hotspur. Let's start with Chelsea. The London club has the worst season in the recent history of the team. Chelsea is currently in the middle of the English Premier League standings. It seems like the new owner of the club, the American billionaire Todd Boehly, is still trying to find the path for the club. Another big issue with the club is the constant injuries of its main players. To add all these factors, I believe it will take at least a few seasons to rebuild the club and become competitive again. So good luck to Chelsea facing Dortmund. Even if they get past Borussia, I'm sure they will be stopped in the 1/8 of the tournament. The same thing is going on with the Liverpool Football Club. The season 2022 Champions League finalist is in the worst situation in recent years. The Scousers are in the middle of the English Premier League standings, so most probably they will not qualify for the next season of the Champions League. The owners are not willing to spend money. There are only 2 world-class superstar players left in the club, Virgil van Dijk and Mohamed Salah. The Dutch defender will most probably leave the club. The Egyptian might stay but is clearly out of shape. Even Jurgen Klopp will most likely leave the club. The German manager has been working in Liverpool for 7 years, the same as in Borussia Dortmund. His last year in Germany was the worst in his career, and the same thing is going on with Liverpool. So the German coach will most probably find another club. Last but not least English club is Tottenham. When it comes to the Spurs, considering their unstable performance, if they will make it to the 1/8, that will be their biggest achievement of the season. But I highly doubt that they will be victorious against AC Milan. And we slowly move to the 2 dark horses of the tournament, Napoli and AC Milan. The current first and second place in the Serie A are probably the most underrated teams of the current season. Let's start with the Neapolitans. Simply saying, right now Napoli is the hottest team in the whole of Europe. They lead the Italian championship by almost 10 points. Luciano Spalletti has built remarkable chemistry between the players. Napoli looks like the most complete team in the tournament. Astonishing dribbler Kvicha Kvaratskhelia and a wonderful finisher Victor Osimhen are becoming the most successful duo of the year. Kvicha and Victor helped Napoli score the most goals in the group stage. But compared to PSG, Napoli is not only good when attacking. The defense is led by incredible two-way backs Mario Rui and Giovanni Di Lorenzo. In my opinion, the only thing that Napoli lacks is experience. That'll be the reason why Neapolitans will most likely reach the maximum of 1/4 stage of the tournament. The same picture is in AC Milan. The club only brings positive emotions. On the one side, Milan's roster has the veterans like Oliver Giroud and Zlatan Ibrahimovic. But on the other side, the Rossoneri acquires young players, such as Rafael Leao, Theo Fernandes, Serginho Dest and Tommaso Pobega. I think if Milan will not sell its upcoming players, and if the owners will provide the opportunity to buy one or two superstars, they have a big chance to get back to their glory and reach the previous levels of the international success of the club. But now they are not ready for it yet. I think they will get to the 1/8 and possibly 1/4, but that's going to be the limit of this season. The next club I want to talk about before my official prediction is Real Madrid. It is just impossible to underestimate Real Madrid, and the last season, especially the final, is proof of that. The Spanish Royal Club is by far the most successful club in the history of the Champions League. Real Madrid took home the most prestigious trophy 14 times. Just for your information, Milan, who's in the second place, won the Champions League only 7 times, twice less than Real. Despite all the inconveniences and troubles that Real has, I will never underrate them. Madridistas will run over Liverpool, but after that, who knows? I will not be surprised if Real Madrid will make it to the semi-final or even the final. Last but not least will be my personal favorite of the 2022-2023 season of the Champions League. When it comes to the current state of the club, PSG is pretty much in the same situation as Bayern Munich. They are leading Ligue 1. But we all know that the French tournament has never been the most competitive one. When it comes to Ligue 1, there's no financial fair play. Parisian club has almost unlimited financial opportunities and abilities. They can buy any player in the world. Just for the sake of comparison, PSG is in the first place in the French tournament. Officially, the club's budget is exceeding 1 billion euros. RC Lens, who's in the second place and only 3 points behind Paris Saint-Germain, has a budget of only $65 million. So with all the respect to the French teams, but the competition in the French league is a big overstatement. PSG won Ligue 1 10 times. The Parisians have been finishing first for the last 5 years in a row. So it's fair to say that with the financial support of the current owners Qatar Sports Investments, PSG will win the local league title any season. But when it comes to the Champions League, the picture drastically changes. Despite having an unlimited money stream, Paris Saint-Germain has never won a Champions League title. The closest they got was in the 2020 season, when they lost in the final to Bayern Munich. That fact makes their match in the round of 16 even more interesting. If the Parisian club will be able to overcome the Bavarians, they will most likely make it to the final. The Champions League trophy is the most desired trophy of whole members of Paris Saint-Germain, starting from the owners of the club and finishing with their superstars like Kylian Mbappe, Achraf Hakimi, Neymar and of course Lionel Messi. I believe that the Argentinian national team captain will play a key role in the success of PSG. Messi is 100% the biggest candidate for the season's Golden Ball. The Argentine is in an amazing shape, physically and mentally. It seems like he's back in his prime. Lionel Messi has nothing to prove. He already proved that he's one of the best players that have ever stepped on the pitch. But I believe he's incredibly motivated to win his 5th Champions League trophy and write his name in the history of the football for one more time. But unfortunately, there are some serious issues with the team, and the first one is obvious – defense. Yes, they have Sergio Ramos, a true world-class defender, but not now. 7-8 years ago for sure. Now Ramos is far away from his prime. Marquinhos or Nuno Mendes, I highly doubt they will be able to stop the offense line of Bayern Munich or Manchester City. Yes, there's also Achraf Hakimi, who's in wonderful shape, but that's pretty much the only asset of the defense. And I'm not even talking about midfield with its overrated leader Verratti, who has more than 20 appearances in this season and only 1 assist. Despite all the problems that Paris Saint-Germain has, I believe they will be able to claim their first Champions League title in the history of the club. And the main reason for their success will be Lionel Messi. The Argentine already proved that he can carry the team, and he will do that again. Alright, now it's time to share my prediction of the tournament. Let's start with a match between 2 Portuguese teams. Benfica will face Club Brugge and Porto will face Inter Milan. I think both Portuguese teams will defeat their opponents. Benfica was handed a relatively easy opponent, while Porto is going to play against the Italian Grand, Inter. But despite being the underdogs, I think Porto will be the one who will move to the 1/8 stage of the tournament. AC Milan will struggle with Tottenham, but still get to the next stage. That will be the peak for the Italian club. Borussia Dortmund versus Chelsea. Doesn't matter what the outcome of this match will be. Neither of these teams will pass the 1/8 stage of the tournament. Eintracht Frankfurt against Napoli will be a masterclass, a pure domination of Maradona's former club. I think Napoli has a huge chance to reach the late stage of the tournament and get at least to the 1/4. Liverpool and Real Madrid. I think the Royal Club will dominate the Scousers. Unfortunately, the era of Jurgen Klopp in Liverpool comes to an end. Most probably that match will be the last Champions League match of the German coach as a Liverpool manager. Man City versus Red Bull Leipzig. I think Leipzig will be very competitive, at least in their homeland. But Manchester City is just another level. The last match of round 16 is probably the match that will show us the finalist of the Champions League 2022-2023 season. I believe that whoever will win the match between Paris Saint-Germain and Bayern Munich will get to the final of the tournament. I personally think that it will be PSG, and if Messi will not be able to get the title for Paris, who will be? Especially considering his stellar performance and wonderful shape. The Champions League is undoubtedly one of the greatest sports competitions in the world. Every single football player dreams to stand on the pitch and listen to the famous anthem of the tournament at least once in their career. The group stage of the current season was one of the most spectacular in recent history. My prediction is still the same. I think Lionel Messi and PSG will lift the trophy for the first time. What do you think about it? Will Messi carry the team one more time? What's your prediction? Share it with me in the comments. Thank you for watching. Subscribe to the channel if you don't want to miss the next video. See you later.